front of the net. Nilan's got the reputation that he can really go, and Brown's got the reputation, and well-deserved, that he can throw them as well. So both these guys just squared right off and went after each other. And they're unloading with left hands. Nilan's helmet just come off, and Brown's trying to come up underneath and over. Nilan standing right in there with him. Both players are really unloading. I don't think too many of those punches really hit. Nilan just caught Brown with a pretty good one right there. But both these guys are the policemen for the respective clubs. They take their job seriously, and their linesmen are just letting them go. As Nilan goes down on the ice, now the linesmen are quick to jump in. As Nilan goes down, those two big guys have got to be tired because they were really unloading some big...
Philadelphia, it's back to Marsh. Looks, has a screen.
Here we go. Here's Nilan and Brown here now.
Nilan and Brown. And Nilan doesn't want any part of it right now.
He's just holding on.
He does that a lot, though. You got to watch out because he's a smart fighter. But this is their big gun, their tough guy, and you could almost sense it, right, Eddie, when you saw that coming around.
Off that face-off, Bob, you get a chance to look at it again. You can see Nilan just coming out nonchalantly towards Brown, and Brown just went right after him and dropped the gloves, and away they went.
Yeah, I'm sure Brown probably will get the instigator here with 3:04 gone and a scoreless first period from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
We got
Nilan and Dave Brown.
And still just wrestling there. Brown is such a long reach, it makes it very difficult for anybody to try and hold him off and be successful. And now Nilan's trying. Oh, Nilan got a couple of good shots in the uppercut, but then Brown has gotten loose now, and he's just trying to get him away. And I would think you're going to fight off a draw on that one.
That was a round two.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell the way they were yakking at each other in the penalty box, Bobby, that it was not over, it was not settled yet, and I'm not sure that it is now.
It won't be.
It's not right. You know, there's a lot of things that the Flyers have said that they've been done, and they've, in the past, and even up until the future, the present rather, but...
Then Dave Brown minus his shirt, and Darryl Stanley comes on, and Brown immediately challenges Chris Nilan.
And they're just backing up. It was a big shadow boxing display, but the thing is that then Chelios got in there to grab a hold of Brown.
Now everybody, as they might normally in an on-ice during the game fight, start to pair off.
But it was a slow starting. As we said, it started earlier with just 4 people. Resch and Husper of the Flyers, Corson and Claude Lemieux of the Montreal Canadiens. Then everybody got into it.
Then it explodes again as Lemieux goes at it with Philadelphia's Hospodar, Dave Brown in there.
What happened at that time there is when players were held up. Nilan took a shot at Brown when he was being held by a player.
Poulin comes out dressed, Brian Propp with just his gray warm-up undershirt.
It went on for about 10 minutes, and it's not a pretty sight at all. In fact, it's something that both Gene and I were really upset over, and I especially. I know that you, as a player, you're really strung tight before an important game, and your nerves are on edge, but you usually wait for the game. You take it out on the ice, and you do it on the ice, not in the pregame skate or before it.
And eventually, the 3 officials, Wayne Bonney, Bob Hodges, and Andy Van Hellemond, had to come to the rescue and point to either side and clear the ice, then got their impressions of what happened from both sides. And Bobby, we are certainly unknowing of the rules to determine whether or not the officials can call penalties or game misconducts for actions that occurred 15 minutes before the game was supposed to start. But we think there might be, and we might have that story for you, and we will. As we have this delay, this all took about 15 minutes and slowed down the resurfacing of the ice. But obviously Van Hellemond, Jim Gregory, the league supervisors, may be in contact with league president John Ziegler to say, what do we do about this? And when they come to an answer, when we come to the start of the game, we'll give you all of that information. You're watching a replay, and they went at it again. Lemieux, this time Dave Brown with Chris Nilan. And this all began at the end of the warm-up. After all had cleared the ice, Lemieux tried to sneak back on to do that little gamesmanship to shoot it in the Flyer net. He came on with Corson, the Flyers with Resch and Hospodar, and what was to be a little gamesmanship and fun turned into an ugly 15-minute scene, unlike anything that the veterans here at the Forum can recall. Something I've never seen, even my Eastern League days. And Bobby, in your 17 years, you say this is a new thing.
I've never seen it happen in pro hockey, Gene. And as I said, you know, they've accused the so-called Broad Street bullies for doing a lot of things and ruining the sport, but this is something we never did.
The prelude to this, of course, if you recall, came in Hershey, in the series between Hershey and Rochester, not in Hershey, where 9-game suspensions were handed out before the game. Nilan got a good one in on Brown. Brown to retaliate.
Brown getting under one now. Brown is really smacking Highland the back of the head, though. Oh, and now Brown is really giving. He's trying to get loose to get him free, and there's a big difference in height there. Brown's 6'5", and Nilan's 6 foot. But Brown is landing the punches on his helmet, not really doing anything. And I think we'll see. The Nilan will be gone. He landed a couple of good shots. Brown got him with a couple of good ones.
Nilan and Brown.
Oh, boy.
Brown got a shot off. Nilan challenges.
Oh, man. Brown tried to land one. Nilan landed 2. This is Dave Brown's first fighting major of the season. You see the size difference. Now, Brown is left-handed. Remember that. And he has a long reach. Whoa, boy. You see, Nilan is just like a scientist, Sam. He knows that Brown's left-handed. He tied up that arm, and now the arm is inside the sweater of Dave Brown. And Dave Brown never got his left hand free, except for the early moments during that entire scrap.
I have to tell you this, all summer long, Chris Nilan was saying, Dave Brown, Dave Brown. His name was on his mind all summer, and they have finally met in action.
Nilan has gone after 2 of the 3 real heavyweights for the Flyers in this game. One Kartner, the next one with Brown, and he hasn't gone with...
When I think back, the fights we had, the number of fights we had, 1, 2, you know, looking back at those days and what we both went through as players. And then here we are today, and we never met each other except on the ice. And then I got invited to fight night in Philadelphia. And they have it, Tim, every year. They bring down some players from different teams in the NHL that used to go to war with the Flyers. And then they'll show, you know, up on the stage, they got a big screen. They'll show the fights, me and Dave fighting. And then they'll have us come up and talk about it. And the people interact with us. And it was awesome. But I never got to meet Dave until that time. And when we met, I'm looking at him and his best friend, Darryl Stanley. And I'm going, Jesus, these two. And I walk up. I couldn't believe how big both of you were. And I'm like, especially, like, I knew you were tall and big and you were tough. But Stan, honestly, when I was on the ice with him, I didn't think he was as big as he is. When I met him in person, I'm there, holy shit, what was I thinking?
Yeah,
but
he was a big guy, like forearm very strong too, you know. But he was a big guy. I mean, you always gave up a little bit, some size there, because you know, weren't quite as tall as us. I don't know, like I never really played that heavy though. Like I probably played like 210, 215 at the most. But you know, so you probably weren't even that kind of weight.
No, Jesus, Dave, I was 5'11" and a half. 200 pounds.
Oh, I know.
I weighed in at. And I'm going to bring this to you. And I want you to see if you remember this evening. Do you remember this evening?
If you didn't know hockey, you would think that was like in an underground, like prison league or something.
Man, where is that? They have some kind of special edition of that or something?
Well, here's the deal, and I can probably get you one if you want one. On Instagram, there's a guy, his handle is Old Time Table Hockey. And what he does is he creates scenes from the NHL back in the day, and he makes those scenes, he makes little things. And I saw it on Instagram, so I reached out to him. I said, geez, can I get one of them? and he sent it to me. He was nice enough. But I'll set you up with it if you
that's
want.
cool.
A
That's
lot of
cool.
good memories. So
Well,
it's
yeah.
good. It's good to see you have a shirt on today. I appreciate that.
Hey,
No
and you know what?
question.
That wasn't planned. I mean, I used to go off after the warm up there. I would go off, take my sweater off, and cool down, and just hang out and that. And then when they said we're fighting, so I didn't bother putting it back on.
Well,
And of course, I mean, it was a great advantage because you can hold on to the guy. But I did have that rib belt because I cracked a few ribs earlier in the year, and so I was still wearing that. But yeah, it was a crazy story. I know we didn't start it, but
no,
we're a big part of it.
for sure. And we're going to get more into that. But first,